Hi, it's Ken Okel. I am back with another performance improvement tip for your team. Let's talk today about your morning team meetings, your morning huddle. You probably don't even think twice about them when everyone's in the same room. All of a sudden, though, we're spread out. It has to be virtual. So I'll give you some best practices, really 5 tips that you can use right away. Plus, we will have an appearance by a funny hat later on. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I want to remind you, if you think of a future question, go down to the comments section right now as you think of it, type it in, send it over to me, and I'll address it in a future episode. So let's talk about team meetings. Biggest thing I want you to think about, try to make sure that they are as effective and as efficient as possible. It's not easy to get everyone together all at once. And when you do, you want to make sure that your meeting has some order to it. So even if it's just on a Post-it note, ahead of time, jot down the 2 or 3 things that you want to talk to your team about. Don't rely on your memory because when you're working virtually, you may forget. When everyone's in the same room and you forget something, it's easy as they're walking out to say, oh, hey, everybody, just a second. Let me tell you one more thing. They come back, you do it. It's easy. When it's all virtual, they're gone as soon as the meeting is called. Write it down. Just jot it down. Make sure that you're making the most of your time that you're spending and everyone else's. You don't want to be there saying, man, there's something I need to remember. I just can't. The next tip, make sure your attendees are showing up on time or even a minute or 2 ahead of time. Sometimes the technology has gremlins. For instance, the other day, I'm on some video conferences in the morning. Everything's going well, making my virtual presentations. Later on in the afternoon, I'm going to attend a meeting. I go into it and I realize I can't get my video to play. I cannot show my camera of myself. Don't know why. What I did was left the meeting, restarted my computer, went back into the meeting. Everything was working fine. This was just a little technical snafu. Sometimes the technology does not play fair. It can be really frustrating. So get to the meeting just a little bit early so you got that cushion just to make sure everything is working correctly. As you are talking to your team, make sure you're building in some time for them to comment, offer feedback, whatever, as you're speaking. Don't just leave that to the very end because people may forget what they want to talk to you about or just it gets lost in the shuffle. So build in breaks. So if you have 3 points that you want to talk about after point number 1, hey, everybody, I'm going to unmute you. If you have a question or a comment, this is your chance to speak. Just do that. Very simple, very easy. Make sure people stay engaged in the meeting. That's another point of making sure they have a chance to comment periodically. I want to talk to you real briefly about a performance aspect. When we are talking virtually, we sometimes forget our facial expression and what we're communicating. And we're concentrating maybe, and we start to kind of get this mean face, even if we don't mean it. We're like, hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Now, I'm exaggerating here. But think about it if it was more like, hey, everyone, good morning. I hope everyone's doing well and that you're staying safe. And I want to talk to you about a few things, and then you can get started on your day. Sound good? Now, notice the way I spoke and the way I looked changed the energy of the interaction. If people are going to be looking at you, directly at you, for 10 minutes or so, they're going to react negatively if you're just like, So try to make sure that your energy is good. You're not faking it, but you are performing to a certain extent, but you're showing a cheerful, encouraging version of yourself. So just be aware of that. You have an audience. They're just not in the room. They're on the camera, but they are there. The final tip is see if you can introduce maybe an element of fun at the end of these meetings. I want them to be efficient, but at the same time, it is still good to have a team activity, get people feeling like they start their day in a good mood and that these sessions are worthwhile. So think about, is there something fun that you can do? Some people, where they have an organization where there are a lot of dogs and cats in people's homes, they may actually bring one of them out. Hey, everyone, if you have a dog or a cat or a goldfish, bring them out, show it to everyone. Another example of this could be a little contest, something fun that you do. Like for this meeting, you tell people the day or so before, if you have a cool coffee cup, bring that cool coffee cup at the end. We'll hold them up. Maybe we'll highlight 1 or 2 of them. It's just an opportunity to share. Now, This is where we're talking about the funny hat, because maybe that's something you do. People often have a funny hat in their house. I found one I have. This one is kind of like almost looks like a Star Wars hat for the Imperial forces, but actually it's more like a groovy 1960s type hat. I don't think I necessarily pull it off all that well, but I wanted to share it because I thought, okay, this is kind of a funny hat, something that people might not expect me to be wearing. So that's an example of something else you can do in your meeting to just make it a little more fun and a little more engaging. So those were 5 tips designed to help you improve your performance on the job. I speak about this, I share it with audiences, and I want to make sure I'm giving you some good tips while we are all working virtually. Hope you're doing well. Stay safe, stay healthy,